Namaste, Mr. Ganguly, and a very, very warm welcome to the Shira Millennium School, Faridabad. We are, delighted to have you here, and the prospect of visiting the National Gallery of Modern Art with you and going through all the, artwork and learning more about it is quite, exciting. And I'm sure our students from classes 6 to 12 are, all wanting to know what all there is in that gallery and what they can learn from you. So it is a vast subject, no doubt, but creativity is something that as a school we encourage a lot. So we have a lot of talented children here, and I'm sure today's session is going to spark their curiosity about various art forms and what it entails. So thank you for sparing your time and for coming here and visiting us and taking us on this tour. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you everyone. Thank you all the students. First, it's nice to meet all of you virtually. I am not very fond of these virtual meetings, but yes, from the museum side, because it's a pandemic time, almost last 4 or 5 months, we were discussing with, like, I work as an assistant curator with my senior curators, what we can do, because the museum is physically closed for the viewers. So our museum is not only me, I am deciding. So we have a team, like your institution also. It has a team of student council, you have teachers, you have headmistress, principal, and also in a school you can see housekeeping stuff is important, drivers are important. So in a museum, like my post is assistant curator, and it's more like we work in a team. So we decided, okay, let's make some links of important artists like Raja Ravi Verma, Meeta Shetty, and also there is a link which is a 360 degree. So where we worked with Google. So you can actually come to National Gallery of Modern Art without coming. So it's more like a magic. So Binsi ma'am will help us with a share screen option, and we will try to focus on share screen later on. But I just want to initiate a thinking: why we paint? What is the important? What is the importance of painting? And today, and also earlier, we always thought about like art integrated learning (AIL). A lot of schools are trying to do that. It's not like you have to become a painter or an artist or a sculptor to appreciate a painting or a sculpture. If you are trying to be an architect, if you are trying to become even a storyteller, if you want to become maybe an actor, you have to think about your costume, you have to think about your makeup. So all depends on senses. Even you're a very good chef, you always think about taste. So art or appreciating painting or coming to a museum, it opens us or open our mind to allow us towards the diversity. Like if you think about India, I'm not talking about like today we will focus on National Gallery of Modern Art, New Delhi's collection. So it's more on Indian artists. But if you just think about India as a country, there are so many states, so many union territories, so many languages, and also dressing sense, त्योहार कितने सारे हैं. So if you just think about when we come to a city or when we come to a village, obviously it's not very easy to kind of go door to door. So when we go to a small state or a big state or any city, it's a very good habit to explore museum. It can be science museum, it can be modern art gallery, it can be crafts museum, it can be any kind of museum. But when you go to a museum, it's more like an open library for you. These are more visual storytelling skill. So you can have the object, you can have a label, you can have a description. Like you learn about that area very easily. Natural History Museum or maybe Museum of Textile. This really helps us to connect with our history so we can move more forward, we can be more strategic, we can be more clear about our position in this world, about our position. So, let's start with one thing. In India, if you just think about storytelling, visual storytelling, I always go back to the particular area of Bhimbetka, Madhya Pradesh. Vinci, am I right? Like, if you just think about, we were living in the cave, and we were trying to communicate with each other. We had body language, we had sound, and also we are not doing it on our school wall or where we live, or maybe in a monument right now. But
Right.
earlier in the caves, we were trying to draw something. Maybe we are going for hunting. Maybe we are having a festival. So I will make some visual marks so my community can have these visual codes. So when we start to talk about visual, so 2,500 years ago or 3,000 years ago, what? There was no mobile. There was no kind of Microsoft Excel or something like that. But yes, we were sensible, and slowly, when the kind of civilization was moving, we were adapting a lot of things. So in India, I started with Bhimbedka. Then I always think about, even students are there from different age group. You should think about Indus Valley civilization, where architecture becomes a very important reference for us, where we started to make our own mark. Like in this particular, I'm doing the session from mobile, but I can see there is written NG, SS, R, ST. So these visual codes, if you just see Indus Valley civilization also had visual codes. Like we started to have the emblem in the coin. So if you just think about an emblem in the coin, it's also a relief sculpture, right? So somebody is designing it. So don't think like we are very modern. National Gallery of Modern Art, where I work, basically the collection is from 1850 onwards, which is 19th century, and then we move towards now. So we have the contemporary artists who are practicing now. But it's not like I or the team or the senior curators are not going to other museums, are not learning from the traditional artists. So it's very important to be humble. It's very important to bring you into zero so you can kind of explore things, see things, and be patient. If you have questions, always ask your guides, your teacher. If they are the friends, they are the to share. This is basically a digital print I am carrying. But earlier, believe me, when paper was not there or the digital printing system was not there, this is actually a manuscript painting. So this is basically
Oh,
from 17th century. And in this manuscript, you can see like we have now the graphic novel, we have images, and we have writing. In 17th century, man, means like if you just think about 300 years, 400 years ago, someone is telling a story. They are using visual codes, and this is Assamese. Like this is a traditional painting done in a manuscript format in Assam. So they are also writing. So this is quite interesting to know our root. So before we are starting the session with National Gallery of Modern Art, it's very important to know about Bhimbedka. It's also very important to know about Indus Valley civilization. And then if we move, we also know Ajanta, how we can kind of forget. We had a
yeah.
space and we were telling story about obviously religious belief or myth or history. We also had a very important reference of Ellora. So just think about at that point of time in Gurgaon and in Noida or Faridabad where we live, we can see L&T company is making a road. There are big cranes coming and making the skyscraper. But just go to Maharashtra and just think about 2,500 years ago, there was no L&T company or there was no big crane. How much
Hmm.
we were grounded, how much we were unified, how much we were tolerant, if you just think about it. And we were making these structures, we were telling stories. It's not about only Ellora. If you just think about any mandir, any masjid, any big architecture in any part of the world, it's more like a community involvement.
I
Obviously,
agree.
there were powerful.
Right.
There were powers, and there's still now power. But students should be receptive. How we can make our future more. I will say, kind of easy with the understanding of our history. So I tried to show you one particular digital print of a manuscript painting from 17th century. At that point of time, we never had the kind of graphic novel company, or maybe we never had YouTube. But you can see the visual. Sorry, it was the upside down. So the visual communication was on. So another slide I want to. So in the same time, you can see, I will not say anything, but you can see this is a sequence from Ramayana. And you can see some portion of the manuscript painting, because earlier we were using palm leaf. because we never had paper or this kind of A4 sheet or something. So we used to paint on palm leaf. So this is the collection of National Museum, which is at Udyog Bhavan. They have the collection of Assamese manuscript print. But why I am showing to the students, because yes, because before coming to the modern era, you should know the storytelling was on for thousands of years. Just give me another minute. If we know about Buddha and if we know about Gandhara period, so if you see this particular slide or this particular print, this is a print of a sculpture. I just kept for a reference. This is titled as Birth of Gautama. गौतम बुद्ध जब जन्म लिए थे उनके कहानी उन समय के कहानी है so you can just see we can draw and we can communicate when we travel through metro we can see the sign language okay this is the exit this is we are moving this is a walking area here we can have water at that point of time they are also doing visual communication you can see birth of Gautama they sculpted and this we call relief sculpture क्योंकि इसके बैकग्राउंड में ऑलरेडी एक स्टोन है और फिर कार्व किया हुआ है सो ये तो 4th सेंचुरी 5th सेंचुरी के बात है इफ यू जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट द आर्टिस्ट वर so efficient this is another slide I want to show you can see this is entitled as worship of Three Ratna. So someone is worshipping. So you can see the entire worshipping scene was depicted through the sculpture. Obviously, they were not busy like us. They had time. We are occupied today a lot. At that point of time, obviously there were less cinema halls. I think there were 5th century there was no cinema hall actually. So yes, people used to meet, they used to listen to the stories, and there was no kind of Air India or Indigo. Maybe some traveler is coming after a lot of kind of walk, and they're sharing their words. So it's more like listening, visualizing, painting, and then telling the story. So I really love this medium, which is visual arts. I studied painting personally from Ravindra Bharati University, and I did my master's from there only. 2014, I passed out. I never had an idea I will kind of come to this museum to serve, and I'm really enjoying this job last more than 5 years. I'm in the same position. What I do basically, I learned first from the museum archive, and I stand in front of the paintings and sculptures for a lot of time. I spend times with my senior. I spend time with myself, and I question what this visual is saying. And then in a day, 3 times, 11, 1:30, and 3:30, we give service from National Gallery of Modern Art. It's a free tour. Anyone can join from any age group. Yes, for academic groups, when students are coming, I always appreciate if there is a prior mail. So I will not take the 11 a.m. work. I will attend only the academic students. So generally in the morning shift, students group come. And I hope your institution will arrange also a physical visit to our campus, but after this pandemic time when we are open. But thank you. I can have a brief idea. I can give you or share you a brief idea what we do through this virtual medium. So I tell story. So usually 40, 50 is the capacity of mine to speak inside of the museum because I cannot be loud. Because there are other viewers are also seeing. So 40 to 50 is a good number. We move together. We don't talk about everything. We don't explain. We feel, we experience. So it's very important when we draw something, we are drawing because that's a language. If I just show you one slide, I think you can just easily communicate. I'm showing one particular painting, maybe not this slide right now. Let's see. Amrita Shergill. I really like this artist. She was born in 1913 and she passed away very early, 1941. First of all, Indian independence happened in 1947. 1941, how many women painter was there? Like were there? If they were there, we can count. And how many women were allowed to go to school? How many women were allowed to be the flight lieutenant or join Indian Air Force? Or maybe in World Air Force in any country, I'm talking about India. So at that point of time, we are taking a reference of a painting. So I'm saying it's not only you are seeing painting of the sake of drawing, oh, kitna beautiful unka portrait bana, or kitna beautiful color application kiya. These are the tools Obviously, if I have a good handwriting, because I practiced a lot. So if you practice painting, you can grow with your skill. But now I am talking about thinking, how to appreciate painting. This painting, Binsi or any student, if you kind of respond, you can write to Medha is there also. She can also be the coordinator.
Yeah.
Do you feel this is a very happy painting? Students can respond with writing or maybe raise your hand so we can just unmute that student only, because it's very important. If they're not happy, why they're not happy, we can go to that time, because she lived in 1941, she's doing this painting 1936 37. This is oil on canvas, I am having a digital print, but when you come to National Gallery of Modern Art, you can see the original work. But Amrita is telling the story of the human being at that point of time. The young ladies, they were getting married at the marriage at the very young age, so they're not very happy. They're not very
So
kind of like
Dhriti,
charming.
so Dhriti has
Yeah.
something to share. Archman
Yes,
also
yes,
has
yes,
something to share.
yes,
Dhriti, you
yes,
may
yes, yes.
unmute and ask. Switch on the video and ask sir what you want to ask.
I don't want to ask. He was just saying that tell if they're happy or not. So I was just saying
Yeah,
that.
share, share.
Okay,
So
okay.
I believe
Thank
they're
you
not
for
happy.
responding.
So what do you think? Are they happy?
No,
Why?
Okay, thank you for responding.
Archman, what is your question, bache?
That the manuscript you showed us, I wanted to ask that what language was written? Was it an ancient language or it was used like
Okay.
many years ago?
Okay, thank you for these two questions. And that is the manuscript is was from 17th century, so it's not in ancient, but we can say medieval language. I can't decode that particular language, but it that manuscript painting style is from Assam, and that particular visual which I shared, it's from the collection of National Museum, which is also in Delhi at Udyog Bhavan. And Triti is right, they are unhappy. But I'm saying by seeing a painting or in front of a painting, when we start this kind of discussion with a group, the museum become an open library, an open archive to respond to our history. So obviously the painter was amazing. Young, just 28 years old. She But if you just think about the visuals, the proportion, line, shapes, expression, contrast, whatever she brought in this particular, in her canvas at that point of time was amazing. But yes, she's also trying to respond what she's realizing. Yeah, about women education, about women literacy, about the kind of voice of women. So Amrita Shekh's painting is very important. So responding to a visual language, why we always speak, why we always explain our painting can tell story. Can you tell from which part of the country this visual is? This is the same artist, Amrita Shetty. And I think because there's a technical kind of week will take more time, but with this particular detailing, you can say obviously India or maybe some part of India. But if you see, a painter is also thinking about proportion. If she is painting a camel, obviously the human being, the proportion is more smaller. She's also trying to respond towards the background, the nature. How how efficient she was to handle the medium oil on canvas and also to bring the essence of the nature and as well as the time pre-independent India. So I tried to show you two slides of Amrita Shergill. And 1913 she was born, and 1941 she passed away. She also studied abroad. She gone to Paris. I just think about that point of time. Yes, she had a well economical family background. She can travel. There were thousands of other women or girls. Maybe they are not traveling, but yes, she became an inspiration for other to start up, to raise their voice. So many women artists in India. There are more than like very popular women artists, Lanini Malani, Anjali Ella Menon. They are very young women artists. They are doing very good. And I hope also because it's a mixed group. There are wonderful artists in your school also who are upcoming artists. So just keep yourself spirited. When you visit a museum, maybe in a month once or twice with your parents, with obviously in the institution visit, carry a small sketchbook. I just request you, because this is the best. Even you are carrying a mobile and clipping a picture and putting it in archive. But if you are carrying a small sketchbook, a particular pen or pencil, sharing screen, I just want to share a few words. You can just note down if you want. I feel these words from my heart, and I think if you are an artist, if you want to be an architect, if you want to be a fashion designer, or anyone, you should know this particular which is composition. Like when I am a painter, or if I am a theater director, or if I am a teacher, I should know what I will tell in my session. So I compose some words. A painter compose figures, houses, trees to tell a story, constructing a meaning. Sometimes painting, we can't make out the meaning because it's an abstract expression, but there are some paintings where we can talk about time, space, economical situation. And for that, a very important word is planning. So composing words, composing visuals, constructing a meaning. And for that, your own kind of preparation, your planning is very important. When you come to a particular painting, maybe suppose if I see this particular visual, any painting or any sculpture, there will be few words which you have to just note down. The first word which comes lines, because when you start to draw, lines are very important. So I was saying any painting or any visuals, the lines are very important. So lines is the first point which I keep on mind, and any artist, maybe when they're starting academic area. Second is shapes. Anything you are trying to say, even in a sculpture, even in a painting, even you are designing a dress, you depend on shapes, you depend on forms. Third word, which I feel really important, is perspective. If I have only this mobile screen, I know I will keep this particular page more front. I am keeping myself in the back, and there is a wall. So I have a sense of perspective. Kitna dur mein hai, kitna nazdik mein hai. And when in a painting, because painting is a 2D, sculpture is a 3D, theater is more three-dimensional, film hall is more two-dimensional. So you should keep in mind a perspective sense. You can become a cinematographer, you can become a storyteller through cinema. Proportion sense. It's very important in life. Obviously, when we have senior students, we have teachers. Obviously, we always keep ourselves back because we know this kind of idea. So it's more like our practical life, and from this practical life, these words come, which is very useful for our upcoming artists. Proportion sense in a painting, किस साइज में दिखाना है, अगर कैमल इतना बड़ा है तो फिगर्स को छोटा दिखाया है. So this kind of thing is very important. Contrast through color, through pencil shading. You can do pencil shading, you can do with pastel, you can make contrast. So contrast, color, and through color or through shading is very important. Any important artist or any important artwork when you appreciate in the museum, these points are very important. Space. एक अगर स्क्वायर पेंटिंग है और रेक्टेंगल स्पेस है, उसके अंदर वो कैसे मार्केट बना दिया है, how the particular artist or he or she was able to create a space within that given space, right? So when we go to a cinema hall, actually we are not walking with Akshay Kumar or Juhi Chawla. We are actually walking with a space which was created by the director. So the director is a very good artist. So what to tell where, अगर classroom में है कैसे बात करेंगे, if we are having a session online with a teacher, how we will speak. So the sense of space is very important in our life. Then the next word is balance. When I say balance in our life, we should keep ourselves balanced with our diet, also with our behavior. In a painting, we should balance colors, we should balance theme, we should balance light. Then the painting become more kind of effective in our mind. Then one particular word is there, rhythm. ये जो मैं words बोल रहा हूँ, each painting when we will see, you can find these words, you can find this particular thing when Vinci will present rhythm. Rhythm बहुत important है dancer के लिए, rhythm बहुत important है drummer के लिए, rhythm बहुत important है एक educator के लिए. When your teacher is taking a class in your classroom situation, not in online, there will be a rhythm inside the class, or else the students will not be interested to listen the teacher, right? To attract the students, the teacher brings a rhythm, even he or she is teaching math, science, or arts. Focus point. What we will do within this 40-minute session, I will be focused, our team will be focused. And that focus point you can find in a lot of paintings, in a lot of creative people's work. Guiding lines are very important. Our teachers are our guiding lines. Our parents are our guiding lines. Sometimes our best friends can become our guiding lines. To just focus with this particular word, guiding lines, I'm just showing painting. Just see, it's very easy. Sure, sure. So this is a particular painting. You can see guiding lines mean if you just say Amrita Shekhar is painting 4 women and she placed 2 particular tree, you can see how she is making this particular tree as a line. If I feel, and your eyes are constant, like your eyes are concentrated in here, in the middle of the painting. So for painting, these basic lines are very important. I just wanted to quickly share. Yes, Vinci, over to you. We will now go to Raja Ravi Verma first.
Right. So meanwhile, I'm sharing the screen. Sia, you had a question to ask. You can go ahead. Also, sir, before that, Sia, I wanted to ask, sir, let's say we are visiting the museum, and which we will
Yeah.
all do after things come back to normal. So what are the things that we as individual or visitors should keep in mind while we visit the museum? And also, if let's say if there's somebody with special needs who's joining in, how inclusive is the museum to cater to them? Can you shed some light on that?
Great. Great. So first, the museum depends on 5 basic points. Like the 5 points are collection. We in National Gallery of Modern Art, we have 17,000 artworks in our collection. So it's not particularly possible to at a time show 17,000 works. So when a person is coming, he and she should be receptive first. We should follow the security instruction because original artworks are there. We will not touch the paintings. We will keep ourselves away. Even some museum allow you to take photograph only with your mobile camera. We should keep our mobile camera off. If the museum has and provide you a baggage counter, keep your bags and bottles there, because if you are thirsty, please come down, take a break, have water and go back, because carrying water bottle in front of the original painting is very risky, because if you are also not trying but any accident happen, the original painting will be in a problematic situation. So I will quickly say there are 5 basic words when you say appreciating a museum. First word is collection. We should know what the museum is about. We should think about the documentation. How good is the museum team to write the name, size, medium of the painting. Each artwork will have a basic information. Third will be the restoration. The museum is always checking the painting condition. जैसे हमारे तबीयत खराब होता है, when we fall ill, we go for the doctor, right? So there is a team of doctors in a museum who are the doctors of paintings and sculpture. Those people we call restorer. वो पेंटिंग का कंडीशन चेक करते हैं, वो स्कल्पचर का कंडीशन चेक करते हैं, म्यूजियम का वेदर कैसे होगा, म्यूजियम के अंदर का वेदर. Outdoor sculptures are different, but indoor, what will be the temperature, what will be the humidity, these restorers keep a track. And then next is display. Obviously, the security will say, okay, don't take selfie, don't go that much closer to the painting, because they are kind of maintaining the process of display properly. And the last point is education. What we will take back from the museum visit? We can take back the thinking. We can take back the inspiration. So these 5 points one should keep in mind. Collection, documentation, means archivic reading. Third is restoration, keeping things properly. Display, how you are arranging the display, how good is the museum, to invite the people from different age group. Museum is not only for the students. A senior citizen can come, and obviously what the question is very important, specially needed people, especially able people. When there is a person who is 80 years old, Obviously, the museum should have a wheelchair, have an assistance of housekeeping. If somebody is ill, the museum should have a first aid box. The museum should have an active security team if someone is just having a kind of like illness and falling down. So we, as museum professionals, first 1-2 months when we joined work, our seniors really guided, because there are different age group people coming, how to deal with them. You should be always patient, calm to take decision. So thank you, Binsi, for asking this two very important question. Let's move to the sharing screen. Now we are seeing on screen Raja Ravi Verma's painting. Obviously, you can come and see the physical painting. Let's go to the next slide. This is the opening slide. You can have the links from Binsi. I have shared all the links. You can just write NGMA India.gov.in and you can reach to our website. You can see the virtual tour. Please see this painting. You can see, you can talk about the time. ये जो साड़ी पहने हैं, the lady wearing sari, Raja Ravi Verma was an artist from Kerala. And now you can see this is not a woman from Kerala. You can easily say she is not a woman from Bengal, maybe Maharashtra, what I feel, right? So even I don't read the title, I read the painting and I go back to the time. उस समय साड़ी का ओजन, the weight of the sari was more. Today, when we see our friends, our teachers, our parents, or maybe relatives wearing the sari weight is naturally lighter. In occasion, we wear maybe very weighty sari. But seeing this painting, and if you just think about the jewelry design of this painting. So if I am a filmmaker, maybe Sanjay Leela Bansali or any filmmaker, when they are casting, they also think about jewelry design. They also think about textile. So you don't have to become a painter when you are coming to a museum. If you have a vision to become a cinematographer, if you have a vision to become an architect, you should appreciate painting. See, in this painting, there is a chair. If you are a product designer, that chair is not a 2020 chair where she is sitting. The red velvet kind of feeling, it is 19th century feeling, which you can see if you are visiting different palaces or history museum. Even in this painting, in the background, there is a column. You can just see there is an architecture piece. That column you cannot see in a Gurgaon architecture right now. So when you see a painting, be a little bit patient. Try to read the painting. Can we go to the next slide?
Sure.
Lady in the Moonlight. It's a beautiful painting. I really like this painting because just think about it. Moonlight and sunlight. What is the difference? An artist from 19th century, 1848. Raja Ravi Verma was born and brought up in Kerala. Then he started to move in Mysore. He worked in Baroda. And also he worked for really important people at that point of time. But वो जब moonlight का depiction कर रहा है, how efficient he was. And he was the first person who brought the idea of god and goddesses through calendar in our house. वो तो राजा रानी के लिए ऐसे बहुत अच्छा पेंटिंग बना के present करते थे. He was a court painter. He was invited by different kings and queens. But he felt the need in 19th century, pre-independent India. हमारे जो god and goddesses का story है miniature painting में, wall mural में, he tried to paint. After listening to Ramayana, Mahabharata, he tried to paint and take chapa chitra, print, like we have poster printing. So he made one area and he tried to take the impression. Maybe from one, he will take 200 impression, and those prints were cheaper. So today, what you see in house, the calendars having Shiva, Parvati, Saraswati, is always seeing you frontally. It's more like a kind of work which was developed by Raja Ravi Verma in 19th century, making the visual more cheaper, so common people like us can access to the story through visual. So wonderful artists, please read. Please come to National Gallery of Modern Arts virtual link, and you can see. Can we go to the link of Nicholas Roerich, if it is possible?
Yeah.
Because there are more visual students, please understand my capacity also, because we cannot show everything. You can have the links from your teacher, but I just want to give you a glimpse. National Gallery of Modern Art is more like 19th century, 20th century, and 21st century artists. So this is an artist who came from Russia and stayed in India, and he passed away in the year of the 1947, the same year we had independence. So he was a Russian artist who was an explorer, traveler, and a very good painter. So Nicholas Rory. Let's go to the next slide. This is the opening slide. You can read a little bit about him. So what a curator do? A curator is your mom and dad in your family. A curator understand what they have in their house, and they kind of do a research. They know the name, they know the particular painting size, what is the medium, and they try to communicate the story with the public. Senior curators, they are with more kind of responsibilities. But yes, my work is just to tell, if you just see this particular painting, can you imagine this is not maybe Delhi? It's obviously a mountain area. And there is a research center on him in Manali. You can go and visit on Nicholas Rorik, Urusvati Research Center. Let's go to the next slide. And he was dealing with watercolor on cardboard. This is tempera, means water-based medium on cardboard, and you can actually feel the sunlight is there. You can see the kind of middle. Am I clear, Vinci? If you just see the mountain, there is a sunlight coming in the mountain, and how efficiently Nicholas Rory had depicted the time through the visual,
Right.
through the tempera medium.
A play,
Let's move to
play
the
of
next.
shadow and sunlight.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's move to the next slide. Yes, it's beautiful use of a little bit yellow brings the whole idea of sunlight coming from our right side. Viewer right side says sunlight are there, and you can also feel there will be maybe ice kind of blocked on the Himalayan. So he lived the life, and he was going to Himalayas with his sketchbook. He was drawing there, he was sitting there, coming back, and he had an involvement with nature. So when you want to become any creative professional, maybe a musician, maybe an artist, or maybe a teacher, you should have the five senses very active: eyes, ears, nose, taste, and feelings. Obviously, we have friends who are specially able. We should be kind of be friendly, more friendly with them. But just think about it. In our life, we just activate these five senses. That's it. Let's go to the link of. Let's go to the link of Bapu Gandhiji. I think it will be good for students to quickly connect. So what National Gallery of Modern Art do quickly bring with a theme. Like we have a lot of artists who in our collection, like 17,000, more than 70,000 works to hand. उसमें से ऐसे there are 20 or 20, 30 works which is related with Gandhi's theme as the museum procured or collected. And now what happened? Within this particular 30 sculptures, paintings, the curator of the IT team created a link where you can see, next slide, there are few by different artists. So with a basic theme, sometime a museum create this kind of.
Gandhiji by L.S. Rajput.
Okay, L.S. Rajput is an artist who painted Gandhiji in this format. Obviously, we know the icon Gandhi in his later life, how he was trying to have a Swadesi voice and his teeth. It is very popular. Let's go to the next slide. So there will be maybe 10, 15 slides.
K.V. Vaidyanath.
Yes.
By K.V.
Yes.
Vaidyanath.
Yes, by K.V. Vaidyanath, you can see this is a beautiful painting, and we know there are a lot of sculptures. And this is by Nandalal Bose. You can't see Gandhiji here. Here, I want to share a little story. We can conclude. So this is a poster by Nandalal Bose. Nandalal Bose was a teacher and a painter who was asked by Gandhi to come to a Haripura village, observe people, and paint the poster. Where the meeting was happening, these posters were hanged for visual communication. So you can read about Haripura poster. We can have another session maybe in future with your institution, maybe with more time. But yes, we have to follow the codes. We have to follow the screen time codes. I will ask Vinci, please share the 360-degree for once. Students will love it.
Yeah. So which floor of the gallery should we visit first?
I think you can start with second.
Second, right.
So if you just type ngmaindia.gov.in, you can really reach to. So I am very much biased, so I can speak for 3 hours, 4 hours, but it's not very good. So this is just to give you a kind of glance. You can just open the link which Vinci will share with you through email or WhatsApp, and you can walk inside the museum. This is the architecture which is situated just next to Delhi High Court, India Gate Circle, New Delhi 11003, 0003, sorry. And you can come. This was a sculpture by different artists. So there are around 600 to 700 works installed for you. You can come with your small sketchbook. Obviously, we will not touch any artwork, and you can have a very good time. If you need any information, maybe I or maybe other person will be there. There will be security people who will be instructing you, and we will have a lovely experience in future. And obviously now we are not coming, so you can virtually walk. There are 4 floors, and each painting you can focus in. If you just focus in one painting or one sculpture, we'll see. Please just focus in one sculpture, and there is sitting area also. So if you are a little bit tired with your parents, you can sit and you can have a kind of gossip, and then you can move again. So each thing you can see and experience properly through your virtual links. These are paintings by Raja Ravi Verma, by the way. There were links from National Gallery of Modern Art, but this object, if you see in my hand, is not from National Gallery of Modern Art. This is my personal collection. This we call Kawar painting. Kawar is a traditional form of storytelling from Rajasthan. Like we have Patachitra from Bengal, West Bengal. We have Warli painters from Maharashtra. We have Madhubani painting from Bihar. Kawar painting is so amazing. I was amazed when I visited Chittor Fort. There is a village, almost 100 kilometers or less than 100 kilometers. So I visited that village. They never go to any school, means art school or art college. But yes, they are going to their local school, they're having education, but they learn this kind of painting, how we learn mehendi, how we learn rangoli. रंगोली तो कोई इंस्टीट्यूट सिखाते नहीं है ना, मम्मी पापा से, mothers, parents से we learn. So these particular painters, first they arrange the lakdi, the wood, and then they process the wood, and then they make the shapes. And you can see there is full of geometry. Just in the morning, I had a session how we can relate art and science. You can just see traditionally India is so diverse in a small particular area. With these doors, you can see someone is telling story of Vishnu sitting there, and you can see that, and they are not very kind of art college pass out artists, so their forms and their paintings are so local. And you can enjoy. This is so simple. You can close this, you can open this door, and you can see when you are visiting some space. Obviously, you should visit museum, but keep your 5 senses aware. If you meet artists like this, always be compassionate. These are the way of storytelling which was happening maybe 500 years ago, where there was no YouTube, where there was no graphic novel. We were painting on this wood, and we were singing song, we were telling stories about god and goddesses, we were telling stories about history, we were telling stories about kings and queens, and also we were telling stories about our own self. So starting from Bhimbetka, if you just imagine 2,500 years ago, we talked about a little bit about Indus Valley civilization. We talked about a little bit Ellora temple or other architecture like Konark or Jama Masjid or Akshardham, anything. Then we moved to 17th century manuscript painting from National Museum. We saw 4th century Gandhara sculptures, and then we came to National Gallery of Modern Art. I tried to introduce myself. What is the role of a museum in our education? How a museum can be approached from a student's angle? How a museum can become an open library to discuss things with our teacher, with our parents, with the museum resource person. And then we try to conclude with the traditional storytellers who are still very active in different part of